It is a year since the tragic and sudden death of the doctor, broadcaster and innovator Michael Mosley. He died out on a walk when he was on holiday with his wife on the Greek island of Symi. He spent his life sharing his passion for medicine and science and ultimately helping people, many who have diabetes. He was a pioneer in weight loss and even invented the 5-2 diet. And now, 12 months on, his son Jack, himself a doctor too, has grabbed the baton and is continuing that legacy.
You know, I think overall we're so grateful to have had such a amazing dad, really, at the end of the day.
And he has now become the voice of common sense on skinny jabs.
It's the greatest breakthrough in weight loss treatment, but I just think people do need to go about them in the right way. These medications, they're not a quick fix. They're not a magic potion.
So why does he think they're a game changer, and who should and shouldn't be using them? I'm Lucy Watson, and this is What You Need to Know. Now, as soon as I started to ask myself all of these questions, there was only one person I knew would have the answers for me, and he is Dr Jack Mosley. And if you don't already know, he is also the son of the wonderful TV doctor, journalist, presenter, Michael Mosley. Jack, you have pretty much picked up the baton, really, haven't you, from your dad? But I don't want to go on to the medicines and the science just yet. It has been a year since you lost your dad, your mum lost her husband, and your siblings, your sister and your two brothers. How are you doing, quite simply?
I'm doing okay, actually. And I think the rest of my family as well they're doing okay. It has been a really tough year. And like you say, my dad he dedicated so much of his life to helping others make healthy lifestyle choices and improving other people's lives. And I think he just made such a huge difference to so many millions of people across the world. Like I say, it's been a really, really tough time, but I think one thing it has done is it's brought my family closer together, really. And I think that's one thing my dad would have been happy about.
He had such a profound effect on, this nation, probably beyond people in this country. He did so much health-wise for people, and particularly people suffering with diabetes. How do you cope when, he's not just someone you listen to or someone you watch on the telly, he's your dad?
It's really difficult. And one way I have managed to get through it and we have been able to cope is just by leaning on each other and leaning on each other members of the family, really. Overall, we're so grateful to have had such a amazing dad, really, at the end of the day.
Sadly, I lost a friend of mine within this industry not so long ago, and the day she died, we announced it on the television. Her name was Emily Morgan, and she was actually our health editor. And I remember reading all the tributes to her from kind of strangers, if you like, and thinking, of course she'd have that effect on people. She talked to them right through COVID. But then I was thinking, no, but she was my friend. You don't know her. And it felt very, very strange. I guess you had a huge outpouring for your dad. Did you at times feel a bit strange about it, that you didn't know him? He was my dad.
Like you say, there was just this incredible outpouring of grief when he did pass away. People who had never met him felt like they knew him. And I think that's just because of the impact he had on so many people and the way he was just able to just communicate this really clear, positive message to improve people's lives through things like Just One Thing, through helping people eat healthily and reverse their type 2 diabetes.
I suppose medicine runs through your veins, really, doesn't it? Your mum's a GP, your dad was a doctor, although he kind of branched out into the presenting and innovation world as well. Are there huge parallels between you and your dad?
Well, I think at the moment I'm really enjoying what I have been doing. So I'm really enjoying working as a doctor. But I absolutely loved writing this book, Food Noise, and I think that was also part of this kind of healing process, really, and being able to continue on some of the Mosley mission and this legacy, because I think my dad and his message really made a difference to so many people. And I think it has been amazing to continue on some of that work.
So let's talk about food noise. Now, when I first saw the title, I mean, my tummy has just rumbled as we were sitting here, and I do have quite a loud digestive system. When I'm hungry, the room knows about it. But that's not what food noise means. That's not what the title is all about, is it? It's not about a rumbly tummy. It's about the cravings that we get and how that kind of talks to us, like an inner monologue about food. Just can you explain it? You'll put it far better than I just did about what food noise actually is.
You're right in saying, so there's kind of two main ways that we end up eating food. We have this hunger-driven desire, our appetite to eat food. So that's when your tummy is rumbling, when you haven't eaten for a few hours and you're ready for lunch. But then you've also got this reward-driven or even emotion-driven eating. And that's what food noise really refers to. It refers to your cravings, that internal food monologue that for some people, that constant desire to eat, even when they're not hungry. I think most people do have good intentions to stick to a healthy diet, but these intentions can often be derailed by this persistent food noise. The reason why food noise, the term, has been brought to such prominence and gained such traction is because the weight loss medications are so effective at silencing your food noise, at quietening it. And I kind of talk about the weight loss medications as these noise cancelling headphones. So you put them on your head, you go about your life, you can ignore the sirens call or processed junk foods, but once you eventually do take them off, and this food noise, those cravings come rushing back with a vengeance.
Now, Jack, obviously I've read lots of stuff that, when you featured in articles, I've listened to lots of your interviews, and, by your kind of own statements, you have called these drugs like spectacular, fantastic. And, the very notion, I get that food noise. When I'm not hungry, I still want to eat a chocolate bar. If I'm working late, I want a treat for that.
Well, I think like you say, everyone can relate to food noise to greater or lesser extents. And I think some people have the food noise, their volume is turned up a lot higher than others for various reasons. With regards to with the weight loss medications, I think for certain people who have tried, every dietary approach and they are suffering with a obesity-related disease and they are living with obesity, I think these medications can make a great deal of difference, and I think they can have a big impact and lead people to improve their metabolic health. But these medications, they're not a quick fix. They're not a magic potion. Even if you are taking the medication, you really need to change your diet and lifestyle too.
What I'd love to know is, what will they actually do to my body?
So these medications, they have been researched in a population of people primarily living with obesity, and they're licensed for someone who has a BMI over 30 or over 27 with an obesity-related disease. So they have not been tested in a kind of population of people who are what you describe as by the BMI standards, as a healthy weight. So I think they can be really dangerous in this group of people, and especially if you're just using them to lose a few kilos for a wedding or to get beach body ready, because they do have side effects, but there are kind of other consequences, including things like malnutrition and muscle loss. It could lead to some dangerous eating disorders potentially, as people can get addicted to this weight loss. And sometimes they may even get compliments and people say, "Oh, you're looking great," and then they kind of keep taking the medications. They're not getting the vital nutrients they need, and it's quite concerning.
What are actually the bad things that can happen if you take them?
One of them would be malnutrition. We're overfed, but we are undernourished. So we're surrounded by these calorie-dense but nutrient-poor foods. We already know that half of people living with obesity already have a micronutrient deficiency because of these kind of low quality, nutrient poor, ultra processed foods, really. And I think one of the concerns I have is if everyone is taking these weight loss medications, this could exacerbate that problem.
You won't like this next question, Jack, just so you're warned. But if you give me a one-word answer, these
Okay.
medications, good or bad? Go on, you've got to give me one
I think,
word, one
okay,
word.
fine. I would say good. Yes, I would say good.
Okay, now you can
But,
explain. I know there's a but. Of course there's a but.
no. Of course, I'd say these are one of the greatest breakthrough well, it's the greatest breakthrough in weight loss treatment we have ever had, really, especially from a medication point of view. And there's been this long history of dangerous, weird, and wacky treatments from jaw wiring to arsenic. Look, overall, I think these medications, they will reduce obesity and obesity-related diseases, which can dramatically improve our country's metabolic health. But I just think people do need to go about them in the right way, and they need to make sure they are eating nutritious, whole foods ideally, and also thinking about their lifestyle. So even thinking about things like I mentioned earlier, muscle loss is a concern of mine. So thinking about basic
Because
resistance training or
muscles
staying
aren't just
active.
about being ripped, are they? Or not having big
No, that's
guns.
it.
It's not about that. So, I mean, explain to me why is muscle so
Yeah.
important then?
So, like you say, muscle is not just about looking ripped. It's actually very important for our longevity. It has been associated with a longer life, but also a kind of healthier life. People can remain more independent and mobile in later age. It reduces the risk of frailty in later age. If you can get up from your chair, if you could walk around, if you can mobilize on your own steam. And it reduces the risk of falls. Falls are a major cause of mortality and disability in later life, especially after the age of 65. Muscle's very important for your metabolism. It's a glucose sink, a glucose sponge. It soaks up a lot of the sugar in your blood and reduces your risk
So
of
if
type
you
2
take
diabetes.
these weight loss medications, Jack, that means that you lose muscle. That's some of the weight you're losing. Is that basically it?
Yes. So in the studies with the weight loss medications, such as Ozempic and Mounjaro, they found that 25 to 40% of the body weight lost was lean body mass. The main component of that is muscle. So this is, I think, why it's just so important to protect your muscle whilst you're taking these medications. Obviously, we're taking these medications to burn fat, especially the visceral fat that can cause inflammation, but we need to protect our muscles while we're taking them.
When an industry is worth so much money that we've already talked about in terms of these weight loss medications, there is a wild west out there, isn't there, for these medications? I mean, people can just buy them online pretty much. And ITV itself did an investigation into skinny jab parties even, and people didn't really even know what they were taking, really, what they were jabbing into their skin. I'm guessing this doesn't surprise you, Jack.
I think whenever a medication like this is discovered or is created, then there is inevitably going to be a massive demand for these medications. As you know, like over the last 50 years, we have seen obesity rates dramatically increase. And we do live in this toxic food environment where we are surrounded by processed junk foods. I think as a result, we have seen this dramatic explosion in sales of the medication, the legitimate medication, but also this black market of unlicensed pharmacies as well. Or, like you say, I did have a look at this ITV program that uncovered these completely unlicensed scammers, really, who were providing either fake medication, and in the video it said you know, they tested these medications and they were full of bacteria and they didn't contain any of the actual medication. So I think it's so important that if you are thinking of taking the medication, you really need to get it from a licensed pharmacy and not get any off this black market.
So what's next, Jack?
At the moment, I'm just kind of taking things as they come. I'm enjoying talking about my book, and I absolutely love writing that as well. So, yeah, we'll have to see.
And how will you mark a year together as the family, Jack?
Yeah, so we'll be getting together, and I think, you know, it's going to be a difficult time, but I think it will be great to get together as a family.
Jack, thank you so much for sharing your stories and your wisdom today. It was really, really great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us, whether you were watching or listening, or if you're new to What You Need to Know, do hit subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or any other podcast platform to get these regular quick briefings on a range of news topics. Bye-bye for now.